He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken podcast. And today, Blake, we're going to ruin Terminator 2.
I'm excited.
So, one of my favorite movies of all time is Terminator 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger. What's the chick's name?
Sarah Connor.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sarah Connor, Edward Furlong. I love all of them. I went and saw it in the theater in 1991. I remember when I went and watched it. I love the movie. I love the action. I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger mark. Always have been, always will be. I was digging Edward Furlong, luckiest guy ever, I thought at the time. He was on the cover of the magazines. He had the hair. He had it all going on. He's riding a dirt bike with Butnick from Salute Your Shorts. And never in a million years did I think we'd be sitting here and I would say it's time to ruin this movie.
Did you see it in 91 or 92?
I think it was 91. It could have been 92.
So you got an early screening. Good for you.
What, 91's when it came out?
Okay.
IMDb says 91.
It does?
Yes.
Okay.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at IMDb saying 92.
Is it 92? Why did I write down 91?
I'm not going to argue with you. You were there. I wasn't.
That's right, I was.
Yeah, edit that out. I could have swore this was 92.
I think it was 91.
No, you're right. It's for sure 91.
So we wasted all that film on me being right the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, Blake. So let's get right into it. We're going to have one of the same. So I'm going to let you go first. What is one way you would ruin? Oh, first off, I guess I should ask your thoughts on Terminator 2. It's not a review, but you like this movie, don't like this movie? What are your thoughts on it? Overrated?
It's overrated to me, but that's your fault. I really like this movie. When I say it's overrated, that doesn't mean it's not any good. That doesn't mean it's not a classic. That doesn't mean it's not even in my top 20. It just means you've made it overrated for me. I personally think the original is better. Like after doing the rewatch this past year and a half, I like the original because of the horror element. I like it way better than this one. Not taking anything away from this one. This one's awesome. I love it.
I get what you're saying. So, first way you would ruin, or what's one way you could ruin Terminator 2?
Okay. So you mentioned Edward Furlong, and I'll be honest with you, Ronnie, I didn't get too creative with this one. A lot of mine is like recasting ideas. I got Corey Feldman as John Connor.
Jesus. Yeah, I definitely would have ruined this movie.
And this is 1991 Corey Feldman.
2 years after The Burbs, 2 years after Dream a Little Dream, when he's in full Michael Jackson mode. He wants to be Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's
Terminator.
So yeah,
Pizza Dude.
1 year after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that would definitely make this movie really terrible. The story behind them finding Edward Furlong, I thought, was always pretty good. They found him in an arcade and thought he looked a lot like Linda Hamilton, and that's how he was chosen.
I'm curious to see what your list is, because you said that we're going to have the same thing on our list.
Yeah, we discussed this earlier. My first one way I could ruin Terminator 2 is make the T-1000 a woman.
Oh, so what they did in part 3?
I mean, Robert Patrick is really good in his role because he's so vanilla bland, and you know what kind of dangerous weapon he is. He's a liquid Terminator killing machine from the future, there to kill John Connor. So by putting a woman in that spot, first off, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger wrestling around fighting a woman, especially a 135-pound woman. Now, if it cast Roseanne Barr as the T-1000 or Rosie O'Donnell, then we got to fight, okay? But if you insert a female into that role, that antagonist role, it totally ruins this movie, and nobody even talks about this movie to this day. And see Terminator 3 if you don't believe me with that.
But your logic, though, you have a complaint because it's Arnold, big Arnold versus a lady. But at the end of the day, it's two robots.
It's true.
With one of them being a highly advanced robot compared to Arnold's, older style robot. So the fact that you're putting sex into it shouldn't really
Right.
matter.
Yeah, I don't want to see a woman versus Arnold. Like, keep not my Terminator. Keep the women out. Okay, just for if I'm wrong, show me the box office when there's female antagonists.
So yours kind of leads into my next one. I got the T-1000 being recast.
That's French Stewart.
The T-1000 is Burt Reynolds.
What? That would have made this movie awesome. What are you talking about?
If Burt Reynolds shows up naked, cowboy hat and all,
it's great.
I'm looking for John.
If you'd have said French Stewart or somebody like that, then Burt Reynolds, dude, that's right up my alley. You know, there's no way I'm going to agree. I see what you're doing. If they would have cast a more known actor as the T-1000, it may not have worked as well because we've been so focused on the two celebrities versus each other rather than the Terminator story.
Well, the first one I had wrote down that I got marked out was Leslie Nielsen. And I decided I thought Burt Reynolds was funnier.
Who's the more okay? I said French Stewart earlier as the T-1000. Leslie Nielsen. Who's the most ridiculous male actor they could have cast to ruin this movie? Pee Wee Herman is the T-1000.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito is the T-1000. Charlton Heston as the T-1000. Who else?
Abe Vigoda.
They stole my damn candy.
What candy? The bastard stole my candy.
Who? John Travolta is the T-1000. Who is the most feminine? Rip Taylor as the T-1000.
Yeah, I remember 1991. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Burt Reynolds.
That would be awful. That would have been awful. I would have loved Burt Reynolds in the role, though. I'm just going to say.
Well, no, you wouldn't have loved it. You would just like to see it. That's all it is. You would like to see it, and once you saw it, you'd be like, "Holy crap!"
But that's the thing. You couldn't put Burt Reynolds into this role because Burt Reynolds is a superstar, a megastar, because of his personality.
Yeah.
This role would totally require him to be void of personality.
Well, I mean, Ronnie, the movie's ruined as soon as he appears naked in that alleyway. The movie's ruined.
Got the cowboy hat in front of it, though, so he hides it.
I mean, we'd be in the theater, we'd be looking around like Jim from The Office.
My next one, Blake, if they had given Sarah Connor a boyfriend, I think it's perfect the way it is. Her in the insane asylum having to get broke out because she's tried to spread this story of this impending doom that's coming. She's got no attachment to anybody except John, and she just wants to get him to safety, and she'll do whatever it takes to get him to safety. Meanwhile, she's sort of broken away. She's gotten colder to him, if you will, because instead of being a mom, it's more like trying to train him to be a soldier so he can save humanity. And I think if you'd have given her a boyfriend, if she hadn't have been in the insane asylum and she's just got a boyfriend that's abusive, and her and John, pretty much put her in the role of the foster parents with a guy that John hates and John's rebelling and she's trying to keep it as normal as possible. I think that would have ruined this movie. And the same as if they would have given John Connor a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's trying to constantly save her. I like it as just those two. And at any point, those two, especially Sarah Connor, could die. So I think giving them any kind of personal attachments out into the real world would have ruined this movie. And people watching right now, you can already tell we're being a lot more serious with this than we were with Halloween. But we love Terminator 2 just as much as we love Halloween. Your next one, Blake.
And right on cue with the seriousness, Ronnie. Sarah Connor, once she realizes that Arnold's a good guy, she falls in love with him, and they have a sex scene. Now, I would love to tell you that this is an original idea, that I just come up with this, but the truth is I did some research and I watched a movie earlier called The Penetrator, and they had this between Sarah Connor and the person who played the robot in that movie. So yeah, Sarah Connor has a 10-minute sex scene with Arnold in the middle of T2 would ruin it.
Why did they give the Terminators genitalia? We always ask that. Now they put the skin over the Terminators, the T-800s or whatever.
How am I supposed to piss?
They put skin over the robots so the humans couldn't detect them. But at no point are those Terminators going to be pulling their pants down. They're just to get closer to the humans so they can kill them.
When they first arrive, they're naked, Ronnie.
Yes, I understand that, but back in whatever the year is, 2009 or 2000, whatever it is, when Judgment Day's when the war is going on, they put skin on the Terminators so they couldn't be identified as Terminators, so they could sneak up on the armies, the human armies, and kill them. So why would you give them genitalia? Because the minute they start talking, human beings are going to realize this is not a real person.
No, I mean, listen, I'm right there with you. Well, I don't know why they have what they have.
Well, they got nipples.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. My next one, Blake, talking about being serious, referencing O.J. Simpson in any way. Now, we've talked about it before. O.J. Simpson was the original person that the studio wanted to play the Terminator, but the bosses, the studio execs, couldn't see O.J. as a killer. Thus, Arnold Schwarzenegger was casted, and history, the rest is history.
He was casted?
Cast.
Yeah, you're right. And I think a mistake would have been bringing in OJ to play the T-1000.
Yeah, I don't know if that was ever considered, but you would think they would go, okay, we'll just throw OJ a little role, a little cameo or something in there.
His Naked Gun character.
Yes, flipping out of the wheelchair. But yeah, I think if they reference O.J. Simpson anyway, it dates the movie, it puts a bad stain on it because of what he ends up doing, and that's all you talk about whenever you see Terminator 2.
My next one, Ronnie, is you and I we're probably the only fans,
only fans
of Salute Your Shorts, and we know that redheaded mullet kid is Butnick from Salute Your Shorts. I think you could ruin T2 by giving him a bigger role and actually having him show up at the factory at the end and pushing the T-1000 into the lava.
Why would they do that? I thought you were going to say push John Connor into the lava.
Nope.
So
Butnick shows up, red hair and all, and kills Robert Patrick. Sarah Connor is actually out of bullets. She's out of rockets. And instead of Arnold coming up, Butnick comes up.
Oh, I thought you were going to say recast Butnick with donkey lips.
No,
and he's on the back.
That's good. That's good.
He's on the back of the motorcycle.
I mean, if you put the whole cast of Salute Your Shorts in this movie with Ugly as the T-1000, that's pretty bad too.
Ugly as the T-1000 would be great.
That's pretty bad.
Ben Stein is the T-1000. Okay, next one. Have Sarah and John Connor both die at the end of the movie.
Oh,
a situation where they all blow up in some way, or they all end up in the lava. I'm calling it lava. They all end up that stuff at the very end of it, and just everybody dies. And then you get
my instinct was to say that what that prevents is any more sequels, but that's not true. They could always go back and, it's a time travel movie anyway, so they could always go back and fix it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you're not getting that happy ending, Ronnie, but I don't know. I don't know
if you get a happy ending anyway. You
didn't. You got it was a letdown. I mean, Arnold lowering himself in the lava, as you called it, is sad. And then Sarah's speech at the end.
One of the top scenes in movie history is the thumbs up as he's going down.
Yeah, and that's another one that could ruin the movie, Ronnie. He's being lowered, and all of a sudden at the end, and then he goes into the fire. I mean, that's one way to be like, man, why'd he do that? Why'd he do that there at the end? He's a robot. Why'd he have those feelings?
I'm going to veer off for a second. Don't you think that Sarah Connor should have died in this movie? Doesn't that make this movie more meaningful if she dies protecting John there in that scene, and they're still able to take out the T-1000, and it's just him and the robot, and he's just lost his mother, sort of like Kyle Reese. He's just lost his mother. Before the movie ends, she's dead, and then he has to watch the only connection to anybody he has left, which is the it's the T-800, T-700, whatever the hell it is. Arnold Schwarzenegger lower himself down, and it makes that goodbye even more meaningful as he lower, and then John's just looking and
he's all alone.
Yeah, he's all alone.
It's just him and Butnick.
You get him at the end of it instead of the chick, Linda Hamilton. talking about what the future holds. I think she should have died. I think it makes this movie better if she dies.
But that's not the point of this video, Ronnie.
Yeah, I know. As we're saving that for our.
Let me get us back on track here, Ronnie. Are you familiar with the actress Nikki Cox?
That's the redhead that was supposed to be the Kelly Bundy in the Married with Children ripoff show that they did. Yeah, and then she was in that show Las Vegas, and then she was one of the many celebrities that had the massive amounts of plastic surgery and ended up looking like something from Dick Tracy.
Well, she has like a 5-second part in this. I think she's like on the sidewalk when the T-1000 drives by, but she's also in a movie she's in a movie we just reviewed called Mac and Me. She's the girl wearing the overalls dancing.
It comes running up, pointing.
Yeah, and I think if we had a Mac and Me style dance-off in this movie between the T-800 and the T-1000, it would ruin it horribly. Like at the first time they run into each other in the mall or wherever they're at, and then all of a sudden, instead of firing at each other and riding motorcycles in the cool action scene we got, it's just a dance-off.
They had Terminator go into a bar with a bunch of edit, and they thought that was a good idea.
I mean, it does sound pretty good. I've never seen it, and I probably never will until we have to review it. I heard you. I heard the beep. Do you have another one, or you want me to go?
No, I actually do have another one. I've got two more. I just thought of one that I didn't write down, and some people may argue that this would make the movie better, but I'm going to say it would have made the movie worse. They did the flip-flop with the Terminators, where the bad guy in part 1 is going to be the good guy protecting John in part 2. I think it would have made this movie worse if Michael Biehn, Kyle Reese is what the T-1000 looked like in Terminator 2. But if
I really like that, Ronnie.
If it's not Robert Patrick, it's I don't know how to say his name, Michael Biehn, and it's Kyle Reese's face on the T-1000, and he's already John's father. Linda Hamilton's the last man that she had a love affair with, and he's the bad guy.
That's just it plays with their emotions so much, Ronnie. Like, I'm going to disqualify that one. You can't use that one because you somehow made Terminator 2 better.
All right. So, okay, let me go.
You just did the impossible.
You've got one more left, right?
I got one more, and I'm not going to pass it off like it's my own. This is submitted by Boz, who is a friend of the show, part of the show. What would you call him?
A non-contributor.
He's a non-contributor to the show who happened to make the title card. Boz says if you make Terminator 2 a musical, it would ruin it.
I can't let you take the man's wheel, son. Get off the damn bike and get out of here.
We're going to kill Dyson.
Oh, but there is like a musical number with Joe Morton.
That's what I was talking about, Dyson.
Whatever his damn name is. My last one, Blake. Give the movie a definitive ending. I think if you give this movie a definitive ending, it ruins the movie. Because I think part of the appeal of Terminator 1 is Sarah Connor's riding off into an unknown future that she really knows what's going to happen and can't stop it.
Yeah, and the weather looks horrible that she's riding into also.
And in part 2, we're going down the highway and all we see is darkness in front of us. And we think everything has been fixed. We think everything is going to be okay, but you never know. We leave this movie thinking Judgment Day is going to be avoided. But at the same time, it's about how stupid humanity is and how they'll find a way to destroy it'll find a way to destroy itself no matter what. So I think if you just gave this movie the definitive ending of like the Back to the Future ending, where after they throw the arm and the chip in there, like the T-1000 disappears, and like something like that. We stopped it. And then slowly Arnold fades away and we don't get the big thumbs up at the end. Instead, we just get him vanishing and giving us a thumbs up. And now we know it's been avoided completely. I think that sort of ruins the appeal of the movie. I know for me it does, because I like the unknown element out there.
Well, there you have it, Ronnie. We just ruined Terminator 2. Down below, tell us what was your favorite way that we ruined it. Tell us how you would ruin this movie.
Exactly. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, because we go live all the time, Blake. If we just feel like we go live in traffic. So if you guys want to check it out, do it. If you want to join our Grumpy Goat membership, get after it. We love it. We got a Patreon. If you want to support the channel in any way, we'll take your money. But just show up, watch our videos. We love it. Blake, I love Terminator 2. I don't know what else to say.
What do you want to ruin next, Ronnie? I'm putting you on the spot. It's got to be a classic.
It's got to be a classic movie.
Yeah.
I say we ruin.
I mean, we went from Halloween to Terminator 2, and now we're going to Forrest Gump.
I say Forrest Gump. We ruined Forrest Gump.
Well, just go with who they was originally going to cast as Forrest Gump.
Bill Murray?
Chevy Chase.
Jesus.